Good morning to my Hawaii friends, and probably good afternoon to most of my mainland friends. Um, I just wanted to say hello to all my family and friends out there in Facebook land and YouTube land near and far. I hope all of you are staying safe and well. As many of you might know, I'm not a huge fan of organized religion for reasons we can discuss later, or I've discussed with some of you before. But that doesn't mean I don't have faith. In fact, faith is a big part of who I am. I consider myself to be a Christian, as I believe in Jesus, his teachings, and his message, but that doesn't mean I can't or won't accept what any of the rest of you or anyone else believes. Your beliefs are your own, no matter what they are, and I have no right to judge anyone no matter what. I love all of you and everyone with no preconceived notions or prejudice. I also believe that you can have church anywhere. Again, no matter what you believe. Church is a state more than a place to me, and it's something that should bring people together to share in each other's light and lives. That's the reason I'm doing this video, and I plan to do similar videos on a regular basis from here on out. And it doesn't matter what you believe or if you believe in any kind of higher power at all. I simply want to share my church, quote unquote, with you, and I hope at least some of you will be willing to have church with me. So please keep watching. If not, I totally understand. I'm not trying to be all high and mighty or convince anyone of anything. I'm just putting a message out there for you to listen to if you choose. I really do love you all. So with that said and out of the way, we might as well just dive in. And bear with me, this is the first time I'm doing this. So I'm of course I didn't memorize any of this. I had to write it all down. So I'm kind of reading at the same time, so I apologize. So anyway, the other day, I was perusing my Facebook feed and came across a story that I couldn't help but stop and read. I'd been off work for about 2.5 months by this time after having emergency back surgery because of blowing out a disc in my lower back. In fact, I'm having to remember to sit up straight right now. It was the last week I was off work before returning this past Monday. During my time off, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to what was going on in the world. My job requires me to be plugged in to the news all the time, so during my recovery I was working on simply getting better and not really worrying about much else. That doesn't mean I didn't pay attention at all. Like many of you, I'm sure, I watched local news when I could and kept up mostly with what was happening where I live. I also wasn't completely oblivious to what was going on in the greater world around me. In our ever more connected world, it's hard not to be paying attention to stuff while you're scrolling through your social media. So, I still egged on family and friends back home in Iowa when it was snowing and cold there, but 75 degrees here in Hilo. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I still giggled when friends shared funny, sarcastic, or satirical memes and posts. I still reacted to news like children going missing, high-speed chases, and other things happening not only here, but in places where I used to live or where friends and family live now. I still shared stuff that tickled my funny bones, touched my heartstrings, and of course even made me angry or upset. There's a lot of that nowadays. Heck, I even shared my opinions on occasion. I know, that's right. It's shocking, right? I also watched I also watched as the world continued to get more divided, especially in the US. It was more than apparent while scrolling through posts from friends. I like the fact that as I've gotten older and moved around more than I ever did when I was younger, that I've gotten the chance to meet a lot of people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures, political beliefs, sexualities, and faiths, and even non-faiths. Mixing those friends with an already wide array of people I knew from growing up, my social media, needless to say, is extremely interesting to follow and interact with. But as I watched after the new year, the divisiveness among friends, family members, and others became more and more apparent. I wasn't really surprised since I do have such a variety of views represented by those friends and family. In fact, it's really the one reason I enjoy following my social media. Then, it was about a month ago, or maybe a little longer now, that a scourge found its way to our shores. I heard something about it either toward the end of December or beginning of January, but I was somewhat preoccupied with not being able to really walk, and then having to go through the process to fix the problem and the following recovery. So it got filed away in the back of my brain, and I didn't really think much about it. Even after learning it was spreading, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, comparing it to other things we all are used to experiencing as simple facts of life. As the world started to change in front of my eyes, however, it became impossible not to pay attention and not to try to investigate and read more about the situation. That's just the reporter in me. And of course, that means I was paying more attention to what was being displayed on my Facebook and Twitter feeds. The coronavirus pandemic is scary. I'll admit that. And it should be for everyone. I know we as humans deal with other viruses and illnesses on a regular basis, but we don't know much about this new one yet, and as additional information is brought to light, it seems like the more we don't know. It also is having a great effect on our economy and the way we interact with each other as our federal, state, and local governments try to cope and stop its spread. That should make all of us think, and it doesn't surprise me that people have differing opinions on everything from the virus itself to the way we're handling it. But what it should be about, what it shouldn't be about is taking sides and shutting everyone with a different opinion out. It shouldn't mean it's your way or the highway, or this idea or that idea to help curb the crisis being better than the other, or the one I'm having the most difficulty swallowing just because it's always seemed like a pretty good argument to me, a petty argument to me, he's my president or not. Unfortunately, from what I've seen, people seem to be even more divided now than they were a month ago. Division only makes the situation worse, in my opinion. It doesn't quell the fear, it only makes it worse. It makes people harbor anger and even hate sometimes. It results in ideas and what could be answers to the crisis getting overlooked and not even considered, and it pushes us all farther apart. Not to use a cliche or anything, because we all know I don't do that very often. But I'm sorry. The cliche is one all of us could stand to remember more. United we stand, divided we fall. That's why when I saw that story on my Facebook wall recently, it caught my eye. Normally, it would have been something I probably would have scrolled right by, just because you see so many stories like it on social media. But something about this one stuck out. I saw it about the time the quote-unquote panic buying of toilet paper and other products was just getting into full swing, but it was already taking its toll. This story was told by a woman who was shopping with her nephew. If I remember correctly, it might have been her son, but it's been a while, and of course finding things on your Facebook wall is never very easy to, refer back to. Anyway, they were in the store when they came upon an elderly gentleman who was trying to get groceries and necessities amid the craziness that would only worsen. The elderly man couldn't stand up straight and could barely lift his head to see the items on the shelves. Needless to say, he was having a hard time competing with everyone else in the store as he attempted to shop. The woman's nephew saw the elderly man and that he was struggling and asked his aunt if he could help because he saw that the man was struggling. His aunt told him of course, and it wasn't just one or two items the young man helped the elderly man find. The woman said her nephew walked with the elderly man and helped him until he was done shopping. Running around the store, getting items the man needed, he even helped the elderly man through the checkout line. After paying for his groceries, the elderly man tried to pay the woman's nephew for his help, but the young man declined, telling the man he owed him nothing. He saw that the man needed help and offered to do so with nothing expected in return. He also helped the elderly man out of the store before returning to finish shopping with his aunt. It was a story of stewardship, hope, love, and faith. It was a story that cut through all the negative and crazy posts I had just scrolled through and read. The purity of the young man's actions shined through an otherwise deepening feel of worry and fright, one I'm sure that has only grown for many of you since I've read that story. The young man was able to show the elderly gentleman the grace of God even though he couldn't lift his head to the heavens. The boy's light lifted the man's spirit instead. And the story lifted mine. There's many passages in the Bible and other texts, including religious texts, that show us how to reach out and help others. Just as a few examples, Galatians 6:2 says to carry each other's burdens. Hebrews 13:16 says not to forget to do good and share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. And then Philippians 2:4 says to not look to your own interests, but instead to the interests of others. There's also the story about the Good Samaritan, and who can forget Jesus' commandment? John 15:12. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Luke 6:38 says it a little different way. Give, and it will be given to you, and good measures, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So going back, no matter what you believe, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, agnostic, or whatever, whether you simply believe in a higher power or don't believe in any of it, the same words in the Bible teach us all a very valuable lesson, especially in times like those we're facing right now. We should simply be good human beings, and that means being part of the tribe, as a friend recently made apparent to me in another recent Facebook post. That means treating our fellow men and women with the dignity and respect they deserve. It also means helping our friends, family, and neighbors when we are called to do so. It means not forgetting that how we treat others is reflected upon us. Now is not the time to hoard. Now is not the time to remove ourselves from the world, even though many of us are or might soon be quarantined to our homes. And now it's not the time to to tear each other down. In times of crisis and need, being divided and only thinking about yourself or your side of an argument is selfish, and it only hurts others. Instead, we should be like the young man who didn't think twice when he saw someone who needed help, and offer to lift up our neighbors and offer whatever we can to let them know we have their backs no matter how scary the situation gets. Humans are social animals naturally, which unfortunately is unfortunately what probably got us into this mess with the coronavirus to begin with, but it's also the reason I know we can fight it and win. Yes, the world will definitely look different once it's all said and done. Yes, our lives will probably have been changed drastically. And yes, unfortunately still, our pockets and purses likely will be a lot lighter. In reality, perhaps the toughest time is yet to come. But facing it head on and coming together is the best course of action. Social distancing only means keeping physical distance from each other. It doesn't mean not thinking about and helping others when the need arises and the opportunity presents itself. It could be something as simple as providing a meal for a child out of school so they can get the food they need, or even delivering the mail to an elderly neighbor who can't get out of the house. Of course, taking the necessary precautions to make sure no one gets sick. Or it could even be writing a letter to your local elected officials explaining why you think they're doing a good job or need to do more. It could even be setting your personal or political beliefs aside long enough to simply hear someone out and allow them to vent to relieve the fear and anxiety building up inside. Life isn't always about getting your way or constantly pushing beliefs on others. It isn't always about trying to convince others about something. Life is about trying to be the best person you can be and how you treat those around you. Because again, how you treat others is the only way God or the universe, or if you don't believe in any higher power, the only way you yourself will judge you in the end. So with that, I want to wish everybody a great Sunday as we prepare for the week ahead, and I hope you all stay safe and healthy. I know this was maybe a little long, and I know I kind of stumbled through it a little bit, but bear with me, it's my first time doing anything like this. I really just wanted to put this out there and, just kind of get it out myself, and if it helps anybody, that's great. I hope some of you listen. I hope some of you, I'm doing it because I felt called to do it. I also know if any of you need anything, even if it's just someone to listen, I'm always available to help out in any way I can. You should know that by now, especially if you're my friends or family. So before I go, I leave you with this prayer. Dear God, thank you for everything you've blessed us with, and thank you for continuing to shine your grace down on us. Times are tough right now, and many of us are afraid and anxious about the state of the world. There's a scourge washing around the globe, something the likes of which a lot of us haven't seen in a long time. Actually, most of us haven't seen in a long time. It's making our friends, family, and neighbors sick or worse, and we're trying to cope with it the best we can. All we ask is offer us your guidance in this time of uncertainty and help calm our hearts and thoughts. We understand you have a plan and ask that you keep us and our loved ones safe and well. Thank you again for everything you provide and your unconditional love. Amen. And with that, I'll let you all go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope, again, I hope maybe some of you got something out of this. I think it's probably just more for me, but I am going to try to do stuff like this, or maybe something a little bit different on a regular basis. I unfortunately also have been affected by the coronavirus because my job is being cut down to 4 days a week right now. So I'll have a little bit of extra time on my hands, and who knows, by the end of this coming week, I might have even more. We don't know. The things are changing so much right now. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Anyway, I really do love all of you, and I hope all of you stay safe and stay well. And again, if you need anything or even just somebody to listen to you vent or get it all out, you can always call or message me. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys all have a good Sunday.